I know you're a senior.
Yeah.
But how old are you? 18?
Yeah, 18.
18? Okay.
Just turned 18 last week. So.
18 last week. All right. And have you figured out where you're going to be going to college next year, or are you still kind of...
I guess I'm one of those people who applies to a lot of colleges and then figures out where I get accepted and then I figure out where I go. So, yeah.
Do you have any ideas of where you might be thinking about going?
Think about some Ivy Leagues, I suppose, but it's so questionable right now.
What's your one goal school, or you just don't have one?
Don't really have one right now.
Don't have one, so it's just up in the air.
Yeah, it's just up in the air.
Do you know what you want to do when you go to school, though? What you want to major in?
Definitely chemistry.
Definitely chemistry?
Yeah.
So what do you kind of want to do when you get out? It's what's your ultimate goal?
Well, currently I want to work in pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals?
Yeah, drug development. And, well, basically to research as much as I can, drugs relating to cancer research and anything else that's...
Cancer?
Yeah. Just like that.
Any reason why, or you
Well, I could give you the in-depth reason. I could give you a really in-depth reason if you really want me to.
Sure.
Okay. Well, basically, when I was younger, I lived in Grafton, and we had 5 maple trees, and they were over 50 years old. And the thing is, well, have you ever seen a really old maple tree?
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, it's in the spring, the leaves come out, and during summer, there's a lot of shade, and fall, all the leaves change color. So it's a really beautiful thing, and that kind of really attracted me towards science-related topics, and because of that, well, there's a little quote that I kind of developed from that, it made me want to dream. It made me want to dream about science-related topics, and well, it's just that. I mean, some people say that if you like books or history, you should go into the humanities.
Yeah.
But personally, I say that if you'd like to dream, why not become a scientist?
Well, it's a pretty impressive award. So, what exactly was the project about? I kind of read it, but it's really in depth.
Yeah.
Maybe if you kind of just simplify it a little for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're familiar with are you familiar with the basics of cellular respiration?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're mitochondria, right? The mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of the cells.
Yeah.
And inside these mitochondria, there is a process called the electron transport chain. So inside this electron transport chain, there are a lot of compounds that are actually related to it, and one of these compounds is called CoQ10.
Okay.
And CoQ10 is very... It's abundant for people who are of a younger age, but as you grow older, the enzymes that actually produce CoQ10 become less and less productive, and as a result, older people have less CoQ10,
okay.
And because of that, they have less ATP, which is
energy.
Yeah, they have less energy inside their bodies,
okay.
And because of that, they feel, well, I suppose, more tired, to put it simply.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, there are people the only way to combat this currently is to give people dietary supplements of CoQ10. And the thing about that is that CoQ10 is extremely, extremely, extremely hydrophobic. As in, it's so hard to get into the body. I mean, you eat it, but only 2 or 3% of it actually gets into your body, into your bloodstream, in its raw form, of course. And then there are people who do different other forms of formulations of CoQ10, and those can get up to 30% or 40% or something like that. Third bioavailability. So, but my method was to create nanoparticles of CoQ10. Nanoparticles are known to be much more soluble than larger particles, just because, well, there are less particles inside there, and there's more surface area, and well, actually that's a bit of a technicality. So, yeah, but in essence, nanoparticles are more soluble than water and much more easily absorbed in the body. So what I did was I just developed a process for CoQ10 in which I would create nanoparticles of CoQ10 that could be stable for up to, from my knowledge, 6 months of storage time.
Where'd you get all the like the materials to do?
Well, actually, it wasn't okay. I had to convince my parents to buy all this stuff for me. So. I mean, well, at first it wasn't too expensive, like CoQ10 and all the other compounds that I use. Yeah. They're pretty regular dietary supplements, and they're really not that expensive whatsoever. Like, people take them every day. But then it's got gradually more and more expensive as it got into like later stages. But all in all,
yeah,
it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't that inexpensive.
Yeah. Well, I did it in my kitchen, so.
You did it in your kitchen?
Yeah.
And where did you kind of get the idea from? Did anyone like?
Basically during my AP biology class.
During the AP biology.
Yeah, Mrs. Dumays, the current AP biology teacher, was teaching us about was teaching us about cellular respiration. So what I kind of like to do was do some extra research every once in a while. And when I did some extra research, I noticed that on one of our one of our study sheets was a word was CoQ10. I searched that up, and I was totally baffled by how people can actually take in a nutrient that's so extremely hydrophobic and still expect it to work somehow. And from that, I basically got the idea of messing around with CoQ10 to see what I could do.
So you just started messing around on your own, pretty much?
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
Well, luckily it wasn't too expensive, or else there's no way I would have ever thought of it.
So you'd say the teacher almost gave you some inspiration?
Yeah.
Or did she help you along with it, or was it just basically just...
Well,
you kind of...
She gave me an inspiration. I mean, all my teachers helped with me with developing a scientific process, and as a result, from this process, from the process of working out this process of creating this process, I basically cemented my understanding of the scientific process, how you're supposed to do controlled experiments, and how you're supposed to research prior works of all past methods.
All right, and so how long did you say you'd worked on it for about? It seems like you started it almost this year.
Well, actually, no. 2 years ago, sophomore year.
You were in AP biology?
Yeah, sophomore.
Wow.
Well, that's only they offer here, so.
Really?
Yeah.
So you started it 2 years ago?
Yeah. Basically in winter, but I was kind of on hiatus until summer, and I spent the entire summer on it. It was like a summer project. And then I worked a bit more on research and writing up the Intel paper during last summer. So it was 2 summers thing.
2 summers, okay. So what did you take for science this year?
Physics.
Physics, or because you can't go any further into chemistry and biology?
Well, the school only offers AP chemistry. So.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, like all other schools, you can't go too in depth.
Yeah. So what was your first thoughts when you found out you were a semi-finalist? What went through your head?
The thing is, because I did all of this alone, and I didn't really get much help from it. I didn't really get any support, too much support. I'm sure I got my parents' will, but that doesn't really count for much. So it just felt extremely exhilarating to know that a group of scientists had actually accepted my work, that have actually recognized what I did.
And so I understand from winning, you get 1,000 for yourself almost, and 1,000 that you decided to give to robotics, was it?
Yeah.
And why did you decide robotics? And is it something you're really interested in, or?
Well, I could give you the honest answer, but
it's up to
I don't really want your person write this down. It's mostly because every other club here doesn't need money. Okay, actually, I'll say this. The first robotics team is constantly struggling to fundraise money to support its participation in the first robotics competition, and as a result, because of that, I felt that I should in some way help the science community in our school.
So it's constantly struggling to look for funds, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's one of the most difficult parts about being in the robotics team. And it's one of the greatest achievements that the students make every single year.
Yeah.
Just being able to raise something like $10,000.
And what else? So what do you plan on doing with the 1,000 that you got though? Did that help go towards like?
It's just going to go into tuition, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I would figure. Because tuition's going to cost a lot.
Yes.
And did you get any like crap from your friends or anything about like the project or winning anything? Did any like students give you any grief?
Well, no one knew about it.
No one knew about it?
No one really knew about it. I never really told anyone about it. It didn't really see much need.
Yeah.
So it was a little surprising, but no, not really. Not too much.
Well, they're going to know about it now. Well, probably everyone does know about it now, right?
Yeah, but it's not really big news, at least in my opinion. But
And so were you born here?
yeah, I was born
okay.
here.
Just making sure. Were your parents born here?
They were born in China.
Born in China. All right, that's. And where are you from? What city?
Stow.
What is it? Stow. Okay.
Yeah, just
make sure.
down.
I think that's all the questions I had, unless you wanted to add anything else about the award. Your plans for the future.
My plans for the future. Oh, just study and see what happens in college.
Studies.
Educate myself in research opportunities and make sure that I can use my opportunities to the fullest.